making a pumpkin soup today. You know, Halloween's just around the corner and we've got Thanksgiving just approaching. So all the pumpkins come out. Great time to make your pumpkin into a soup. Now, I'm like everybody else. I like to carve a pumpkin, put a little sort of candle in there, make it all spooky. But also, pumpkin's really delicious in a soup. So we're going to add some vegetables, some spices, just make it really flavoursome. And I think everybody will love it. Now I just want to go through the ingredients. I've got my pumpkins there. Now I'm going to use this pumpkin for making the soup. Now it weighs about 2.5 kilos. Now what I'm going to do with that is wash it, dry it, then we're going to chop it in half, add a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, roast it up in the oven. So there's my pumpkin. Now what I'm aiming to do is at the same time get this one prepared so we can put all the soup inside it and that will be our serving dish. What better thing for serving up pumpkin soup than a pumpkin? So obviously we've got our pumpkin and we're going to sort of roast that up. Now for the rest of the ingredients, I've got 1 onion that I've chopped fairly fine, 1 clove of garlic. You either want to crush that or again chop it up as fine as you can. A little bit of leek, not essential, but I'm going to use about 6 inches worth, the white and the light green bit. Sometimes in the middle, in the layers, you get a bit of dirt and grit. So what you can do is slice that down the middle, run it under cold water just to sort of clean it out because you don't want bits of grit in your soup. So a little bit of leek, and I think that adds a little bit to the flavour. Now I've got a couple of medium-sized potatoes, 1 carrot, peel those and chop them down reasonably fine because ultimately we're going to blend it all anyway, so it's not too important how big the pieces are, as long as they're soft and nicely cooked. Now I'm going to use some vegetable stock. I've got some bouillon powder. Now with this powder I'm going to use about 1 litre of boiling hot water. So we're going to have 1 litre, so 1000 ml of vegetable stock. Now instead you could use these cubes and also you could use chicken stock instead of vegetable stock. You can always play about, make it your own, and it'll just be a beautiful pumpkin soup. Now, at the end, I'm going to use some double cream, but again, if you've only got single cream, you can use that, or if you don't like cream, just forget all about it. 70 grams of double cream. A little bit of salt and pepper. Now, I've got some cumin seeds. Now, I'm actually going to grind those in a pestle and mortar. I was actually looking for ground cumin, but I didn't have any in the cupboard, so I'm going to grind my own 1 teaspoon of, cumin seeds. Half a teaspoon of ground coriander, and again, about half a teaspoon of freshly ground nutmeg. A little bit of olive oil, just for sort of frying up all the onions and vegetables and putting inside to roast up this pumpkin. So nice simple ingredients. What I'm going to do is wash my pumpkins, get all the vegetables ready, and then we're going to start preparing the pumpkin ready to roast in the oven. Now with the pumpkin, I'm just going to chop it in half. Now use a big sharp knife. Now if you find it really difficult to do this, then what you can do is you can put your pumpkin in the microwave for about 15 to 30 seconds and it'll probably just soften it enough that you can cut it through. But I think I'll be all right, so I'm just going to go through there. I might turn it round. That's it. Split that apart. And look at that, it's got a lovely pumpkin. Now what we're going to do is try and get out most of the centre, so the sort of fibrous bits and the seeds. Now with the seeds, you can actually dry those off, roast them up, and you've got delicious pumpkin seeds as well. So don't waste those. So what I'm going to do is get a spoon and we're going to start scooping out the middle of these pumpkins. Just sort of, try and pull it off the sides of the flesh. Let's turn it around. Just try and get as much of that out as possible. So I've scooped out all the inside, got all the pips out, and as much of that fibrous stuff as I could. It doesn't matter a little bit because obviously we're going to blend it anyway. Now what I'm going to do next, get myself a knife, and we're just going to kind of score in to the flesh. Try and be careful you don't chop your finger. Turn it around. Now I'm then going to get a bit of olive oil and just splash a bit of olive oil on there. Now with the olive oil, just kind of get it all rubbed on the inside. Same on that one. Just try and get it all all over really. That's it. And we're going to put a little bit of salt on there. Ground black pepper. Then I'm going to bring my baking tray. I've got a bit of parchment paper just at the bottom of this. So just get that in shot. Just leave that there, fits nicely in the tray. Switch my oven on. Now my oven's just come up to temperature, so I'm going to place it in the oven. Now so I'm going to cook mine for about 45 minutes. Obviously if you're using a larger pumpkin, then you need to cook for a little bit longer, but I reckon 45 minutes, temperature wise, 190 degrees Celsius, 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is gas mark 5. So now while I've got the pumpkin roasting away in the oven for 45 minutes, at the same time, I'm going to put in, I've got a whole pumpkin there that I've kind of just chopped the top off so this fits back on top, and that can be the serving dish. So just leave that in the oven, and again, a similar sort of temperature, similar sort of time really, 45 minutes. So now I've got the pumpkins cooking away in the oven, roasting away. I'm just going to switch the heat on. Now I've got myself a fairly big sized pan because at the end when you want to blend it, you don't want it sort of splashing your walls. Now I'm just going to add in a little bit of olive oil, warm that up a little bit, and then we can put in the onion. Now put the onions in. Now at the same time, let's put in the little bit of leek, carrot, and the same with the potatoes. Give it a stir. Now what I'd say is you probably want to cook this only for about 5 minutes. I'm going to put the spices in there now. Now we're going to use the ground cumin seeds, let's say 1 teaspoon. Just put that in there. And then we've got half a teaspoon of ground coriander. That'll do. And then I've got the nutmeg. Now, with the nutmeg, I've got a whole nutmeg there, if I show you. Got one there. And we're just going to use like a cheese grater and grate in, I'd say again, about half a teaspoon of that. So, I mean, what you can do with the nutmeg is put some in, and then you can always add a little bit more, even if you do it a little bit later. So again, give that a quick stir, get all those spices mixed up. Now I'm going to turn the heat off at this point and just leave that really. I'm going to pop a lid on there, and then I'm going to wait until we've got all the pumpkin nicely roasted up. So leave that, put a lid on it, wait for the pumpkin, and then we can scoop it all out, add it into here. So I've had the pumpkin roasting for 45 minutes. I'm pretty sure that's going to be fairly nice and soft. So let's just grab one. Obviously it's going to be hot. You can see it's soft. Now a good way of telling is just stick a knife in there, nice and easily. Oh yeah. Now that's fine. I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to start scooping out all that flesh. So I've got the pumpkin, I've taken it out of the oven. Look at that. Nicely roasted. Oh, it's going to be good. Lovely and soft. So let's just take the lid off, and then we can use a spoon. Now be careful because it's quite hot, and we're just going to scoop in all the nice soft bits from the pumpkin. So just do that with both of them until you got it all in there. I'll just show you. I've pretty much scooped all that out there, so got all those tasty flavours, the roasted flavours in there. Next of all, just going to boil my kettle. So we've got 1 litre of water, because I'm going to mix it with a vegetable stock, or if you're using chicken stock, you know, just use 1 litre of boiling hot water. So I'm just going to pour out 1000 ml, which is 1 litre, so let's just quickly pour that in there. Pretty much this one, that full up. That's it. Now I'm going to use this bouillon powder, and it usually recommends about 4 teaspoons for each litre. Now I'm just going to switch that back on the heat. I'm going to bring it up to the boil, and then we're going to drop the temperature down, you know, to a low heat. Now, in case you're wondering, we've got that garlic clove. Now, I said crush it up, and I was going to add it in with the onions at an early stage, but I've decided to add some roasted garlic. I've actually been roasting some garlic in a little bit of tin foil there. Got 4 or 5 of those. Now, I'm just going to squeeze that out. That's roasted garlic, and I'm going to use 3 of those because I find the flavour really nice on those. So now we've brought it to the boil. Just going to squash that all down. Ooh, look at that. Smelling good. Now I'm going to turn the heat right down. Nice and low. That's it. Going to put the lid back on there, and then we're going to cook it for half an hour to make it really nice and soft. Now I've been simmering the sort of pumpkin soup for about half an hour. Now let's switch it off the heat, because what I want to do is kind of blend it. Now I've got my stick blender, which I'm going to use. So let's just put that in. That's it. I think we've got most of the lumps out of there. Looking good. And next of all, I'm going to try it because it's all nice and smooth. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, let's try that. Oh, definitely a lovely pumpkin flavour. Now, I'm actually going to add a little bit of salt and again a little bit of black pepper. Now also I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese because I think Parmesan is a lovely one. It's quite universal and you can use it in different things to give various things flavours. Give that a quick stir. Just let that cheese really melt into there. Let me just try some of that. Mind it, it's going to be hot. Oh yeah, it's starting to taste good now. Really nice. And the next thing I'm going to add is some cream. I'm going to add roughly about half a pot. Oh yeah. Again, give that a mix up. Now what we can do is just switch heat on at this point. Do it on fairly low. But that bit of cream should give it a lovely sort of silky creaminess. And really just, I'd say about another minute. Get it up to sort of bubbling, taste it and make sure it's good. Just starting to bubble, got that cream in there. Now I'm going to switch it all off. Gentle stir. Let's taste this. Oh, it looks lovely, this soup. Let me just try. Right, that's lovely. You can taste the pumpkin and the creaminess, absolutely beautiful. So let's take it over to the table, serve it all up, be delish. So I've got the soup all done. Now, I'm going to take the lid off this. Now, I actually roasted this in the oven at the same time as doing the other one, and I'm going to use this as a serving dish. And next thing I'm going to do is just pour in all that lovely soup we've done. Look at that. Right up to the top. And then we can put the lid on, present it, serve it up, be delicious. Now, I'm just going to serve some of that up. Let's just put some of that beautiful pumpkin soup in there. Oh yeah, look at that. I think I'll put one more ladle full. Delish. Now I've also roasted up some of these pumpkin seeds, so just lay that on. And I've got a little bit of the cream left, so I might just pour a little bit more cream. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's just try that. Let's just go straight in. A little bit of pumpkin seed, a little bit of that cream. Oh. Look at that, delish. Right, it's lovely. Now I've also roasted up some chapatas, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of garlic. Raw garlic, I just kind of wiped it on. Really nice for dipping in because I think garlic goes really good with this soup. Let me try it. Oh, lovely. Absolutely. Oh, you'll love this soup. Now, just before I go, I just want to say thanks for watching my video, especially if you watched it till the end. And if you like what I do and you haven't subscribed, click the little link above and it's always appreciated. See you in the next video, The Original Naked Chef, and happy Halloween.